So, if you studied marketing at all or been any type of student of marketing, at least from any credible source, you've already learned that there is absolute correlation between a strong offer and a great outcome when it comes to your marketing efforts. With that, I'm actually sitting here with Michael Friedman of SupaFitGrow out in Australia. Now, he is one of the co-founders. I've had Benji on the show already, and I've been in awe of these guys and what they've done for gyms all over the world. We actually think they do such a good job on the digital marketing side and the lead gen side that we've actually sent all of our advertising clients to them. And we worked out a deal, of course, but they generate more leads at the same budget and higher qualified leads, meaning they're further down the funnel, ready to make a decision. So it just made all the sense in the world, keeping true to our mission of we want to help gyms grow. And so with that, though, one of the things that makes them so successful is their ability to really get great offers in and test things within all the gyms that they work with. And so between his experience and my experience, which means working with over 4,000 gyms across the world, we're able to really dive in deep into this particular episode and bring to you what we've learned makes a really strong, compelling offer that speaks to the person that you're wanting to target perfectly and makes them compelled to take action, learn more, and eventually become a member. So without further ado, all right, so one of the things that I think is pretty common knowledge now in the marketing world is that the offer is a very important variable in the marketing tactics that you deploy. And if you don't have a compelling offer, you could have the coolest tech, the greatest integrations. You could also have wonderful branding, beautiful logos, colors, all that stuff. But if the offer is really weak, it can be very challenging. Now, the offer I've learned isn't the end all be all. There's companies that don't actually have a great offer in the traditional sense. For example, Apple, Tesla doesn't really do offers in the traditional sense, but their offer, defined the way it actually is you get a top of the line product at a very expensive rate, which is worth it because it's top of the line. That's what people know. Now, some of you listening might say, well, I'm top of the line. I don't want to discount either. Well, if the amount of people that know Tesla and Apple also know you, you're probably right. If there's a big difference between the amount of people that know Tesla and Apple and you, then you're probably wrong. And therefore, a traditional offer, in the sense in which we're going to be speaking of today, might be valuable. So, Michael, I want to dive into this really quickly with you. When we talk about offers, in the traditional sense, what does a typical offer look like for a typical small business? Just so we can get that started, and then we're going to dive into the problems that not having an offer solve.
Yeah, well, with a typical small business, if we're looking at a gym or a fitness studio, we would see out there in the marketplace a 7-day trial or a 3-day pass, just something to entice the prospective member to make a decision to come in for that experience, that initial introductory package.
Got it. And I want to dive into the customer psychology of this. So, when it comes to the customer psychology of a great offer, why don't you help break that down a little bit? What's your take on that?
Well, what you want to do with an offer is you want to have a high perceived value to the consumer. There's so much competition out there and there's so much noise, and to be able to cut through that noise, we need something that actually resonates with your ideal consumer. So what is an offer? An offer is something that is of high perceived value to the consumer, something that is tangible, that will make someone get off their couch, show some interest, and engage with that product or service.
So, what makes an offer irresistible?
It depends on the situation, but from a gym or fitness studio perspective, we see out in the marketplace quite often 3-day trials, a free pass, and these offers typically don't seem to generate a lot of leads, a lot of interest. But when we add some additional components to the offer, so when it has a time frame, when it has the benefit to the consumer, and when it has a power word, and you have 3 components in addition to the value stack as what is the consumer going to get for getting off their couch and going into the gym. For example, I'll give you an example. I just recently joined a BFT locally, and I had the choice between Two local BFT studios, 8 minutes apart. One was offering 2 weeks for $49. The other one was 2 weeks for $20. But in addition, if I decided to sign up in the first week, I was going to get a free heart rate monitor, and I was going to get also $10 discount if I was going to sign up for 6 months. So I decided to go with option B because I knew that I was semi-interested in a long-term membership, and there was more value in that particular offer. So that's what I decided to go for.
And for the listeners that don't know, BFT is a fitness studio concept. And he also mentioned value stacking, and that's a very, very important piece. So one of the things that makes a great offer, a lot of people think it's discounting, but you don't have to discount. What you really need to do is create a big gap between what they get and what they have to give in order to get it. Another way to say that is increase the perceived value, right? So if you're going to buy a house for $100,000, easy math, you can't find a house like that anymore. But if you were to buy a house for $100,000, you would like to believe that that house is worth 120 or 130,000. That's where you feel like it's a good decision. Nobody wants to buy a house that's $100,000 at $100,000 that feels like it's worth 100,000. You want to get a house that you feel is better. That's where you feel like you got a good deal. The killer deal is like the house is worth 200,000, you got it for 100, right? So what we want to do is create a discrepancy, a big gap between what I have to give and what I have to get. Easiest way to do it, but not the most profitable way to do it, is to just discount. Just, hey, half off, 50% off. But another way to do it is to value stack. So with that, Michael, why don't you dive into value stacking? What is value stacking?
So what is value stacking is adding additional components to that offer. So the added tangible and intangible items that a consumer will receive in that initial introductory package. So as I mentioned earlier, one of them could be like a free heart rate monitor. We could have a one-to-one personal training session, a nutrition guide. Those are the types of things that someone might find more valuable than simply just a free trial. So what is the consumer going to get in that first 2 weeks, 3 week, 4 week period? Maybe there's a welcome pack. Maybe there is a towel and a drink bottle. Even though they might sound small, those little additional benefits increase that perceived value. Again, differentiating it from simply a 7-day free trial. Again, don't need to give away for free. You can definitely offer it for a price, but you don't need to advertise the price, if that makes sense.
100%. And one of the things that I learned too, I'm sure you have too, Michael, is that when you're creating those additional things that you would bolt on to the offer in order to make it like a bigger offer, right? You stack new valuable things on top of the offer. It's very important to choose things that you would stack on that are very, very intriguing to that same target audience. So for example, we did something called Mother May. It was a great promotion. It drove in 300, this one gym, our best gym that did it, he got 309 leads in 6 days with $0 in ad spend. If he would have ran ads, he'd have got probably 500-600 leads, right? But he did that with $0 in ad spend, 309 leads in 6 days. But it was a Mother's May promotion. So everything that was stacked on top of that offer was all things that are appealing to the typical mom you would target, which is between that 30 to 45 range. So it was like a $100 or $50 Lululemon gift card. Well, a lot of you are like, well, wait, they're going to get $50 if they sign up? Yes, because what you'll learn is even with that, if you're closing more people, your customer acquisition cost still improves than if you give nothing away, but you close less people and you spend the same amount of money in marketing. He also threw in stuff like a free massage, which he had a massage studio that actually offered to give a free massage to anybody that joined, knowing that that's probably a good client because they're spending money on advertising anyway. This is even better. So there were a lot of things. And if you guys actually want to see the breakdown of the entire offer, because there's a lot of stuff that we stacked in, you can actually go to loudrumor.com/great-offers. Again, that's loudrumor.com/great-offers. So you can see exactly how we built it out. Tons of gyms modeled after this and got a ridiculous amount of leads at very, very little cost. Okay. So we talked about that, and I love the idea that you guys value stack because although I do believe that there is a place for discounts and, lowering the price in some cases, I do feel like the better deal is when you can stack value instead. But one of the things that I know you talk about is the importance of understanding that customer's pain points and desires. So when we're creating the offer, how do you guys take in account their pain points and their desires?
So again, of course, it really depends on the brand and the modality and what that consumer might be looking for. So typically, if that individual is looking for a transformation, right, a body transformation, that's what they're there for, and they want to improve the look and feel of their physique over a period of time, then including the word transformation in offer can be quite appealing. Uh, as opposed to, let's say, another example might be a sculpt program because people want to sculpt their body. So having these types of words as a part of the offer matches what the consumer might be looking for the product or service that you're offering.
Love it. Now let's talk about the structure of the offer. So, what are the different types of offers? You got discounts, bundles, limited time stuff. Like, help me break those down.
I might just start with an example, a case study. So we've had a client, they had a 3 free class offer. And what we did is we crafted a different offer from that. So we didn't change it too much, but we formed a 3 class, a 3 free classes bootcamp experience. And what happened was they generated 4 times the number of leads by just simply tweaking the name of the offer, because they
Wow.
offer a boot camp, right? So that's just an example. Now, in terms of the components, what's important here? So you've got your time frame or quantity of classes. So typically from a time frame perspective, it might be a 7-day, 14-day, or 21-day, or 28-day experience. And then you're looking at the middle section of the offer, which is what is the benefit or what is the service. So is it a boot camp? Is it a transformation? Is it beginners boxing? What are we offering the consumer? So we can be really, really clear about that offer. And then finally, the last component is that power word at the end. So is it a Kickstarter? Is it a program? Is it an experience? So what it is just sort of finishes off the naming of that. When you have all those 3 components in place, it generally sparks a lot more interest. It generates more leads and makes more sense when you're reading it in your copy, whether it's paid, whether you're running paid ads or whether it's organic.
I love it. So, let's dive into those types now. So the discounts, bundles, limited time deals. So we talked a little bit about discounts. I mean, that's where you just break down like a 7-day, 14-day trial, something like that. Then you got your bundles, which is like the value stacking, right? Where you just add in different things, you give it a container. And then we got limited time deals. What kind of limited time deals have you guys seen that work really well?
So limited time deals, adding scarcity. So we're sort of talking about scarcity with that particular offer. It's not necessarily a necessity to add, but it's definitely worth testing to limit that time of the promotion. So particularly around a seasonality. So if it's a Mother's Day offer or if it's a winter special or something to do with the actual season, then putting a limited time with that offer can entice consumers to make a decision a little bit more quickly, knowing that particular offer will end shortly.
And so let's go into the piece that I think a lot of people miss out on, and that's you have this great offer, but then you have a weak or no real good call to action or a CTA. So, what are some of the best practices for compiling different types of CTAs that you could have call to action? Well, let's start with what is a call to action, and then we'll go into what are the different types of call to actions you've used and where do you use them?
Sure. So call to action is there to instruct the consumer on where to go next. So you've got an offer, but you need to tell them where to go. So typically, what we see with gyms and fitness studios, you'd be using either sign up or learn more. And it's really important to test a variety of call to actions to see what works best for you. Learn more is good to use because there's less friction there, where if you have, say, sign up, you're potentially pushing people away because they might not be ready to make a decision right there and then, and they want to learn more about your brand. So we recommend learn more as a softer call to action, and obviously, with that next step being there's some more information about the brand and service that they can read and understand before taking the next step to convert into, say, or book a trial.
Yeah. The urgency and scarcity are very important as well, and they can really help because, like what you said, not everybody's ready to take action right now. And if there's one thing that many humans are good at is procrastination. We're very good at holding off. I can't tell you how many gift cards I have in my wallet. I don't know how many. I got a lot of gift cards. And everyone gives me a $25 gift card here, $75 gift card there, $50 gift card here. And I got like probably at least 30 to 50 gift cards. And I don't care because I know that like I'm going to use them when I want to use them. But I remember I was going through my gift cards to find this one gift card for a restaurant. And as I went, I saw a Nike gift card and it said expires 2024 and it was coming up. It was like December. I'm like, I have to go get this now or else I lose it. And I didn't even need shoes. I had no real need for shoes. I felt like I was losing by not getting shoes. So the same thing goes for this. Somebody that is reading this particular ad has an interest, just like I did have an interest. When I got the Nike gift card, I was happy. I was like, cool, I like Nike. I know I'm going to wear Nikes one day when I use this gift card. Um, so people are reading the ad for the gym. They are interested in working out, but they maybe don't have that pressure right now. They may be procrastinating. They're not ready to go. When you add in urgency, which it's usually like time bound, so only 7 days left or ends on the 31st, or scarcity, which is only 5 available or only 3 left, you're able to get that person, like you spoke about, that's just not ready right now to be ready because they don't want to lose the deal. What are some things that you've seen in your tests when it comes to scarcity and urgency? Like, is a 30-day window too big? Is a 7-day window 3-day? Or what about quantity? Is it 50 available, 20 available? Like, what do you see?
Look, of definitely a variety of things do work. So limited spots remaining is generic. The number of spots that you can actually intake in a certain particular period of time might sound a little bit more legitimate than simply, I only have, I've got 30 spots. So saying that you can only take 5 or 10 spots this week. You've got the time bound. So this particular offer ends on a specific date, works very well. It really just depends on, again, what we're offering, the time of year, and it must make sense for your brand. But certainly adding scarcity or urgency to the offer does increase the number of leads. You've got to do it, otherwise people won't make that decision right now.
Yeah. So So it sounds like it does depend, but is there some that you're like, that's too long? Like, is 30 days too long? Is 50 days, 45 days? What about with like quantity? Is like 100 too many? Is 50 too many? Like, what have you seen in your tests that like, what I can say confidently is generally this is too much?
Yeah, I think from what we've seen, if you have urgency over like a month period, then it's not really going to hold any weight. So if you want something that ends soon, within the next week or 2 weeks. That being said, if you're looking at it from a paid ads perspective, you also want to have something that is also evergreen in a sense. So it's you can, you can test with and you can test without. Without, then you can have an evergreen offer that doesn't necessarily have an end date, but you could have a certain number of spots or slots available in that particular month, and that's more legitimate, right? Rather than having a particular end date. You want
Right.
something believable, something that's you know you don't want to be lying about what you do, because
Yeah,
you want to get more members, you want to get more leads. So we want to be honest with what we do.
I agree. So when you're measuring the effectiveness of any of your offers, because obviously you're testing things and that's how you know,
Sure.
like, okay, we just changed the title of this offer and
Yep.
that gave us 4x. What are some of the key metrics that you're looking at in order to decide whether or not I should make a change or let this ride on this particular offer?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we track all our offers when running paid ads for our clients. We typically look at 3 core metrics. We look at the cost per lead, obviously. So the cost per each individual lead, the click-through rate, CTR, so the percentage of people that actually click on the ad, and then the cost per click. And if we see that cost per lead below, say, a $20 mark, $15 mark, we know it's performing well. If its cost per lead is, say, above $30, $40, we know that the offer is just not resonating with the local market.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, for everyone listening, and Michael, I know you know this, the cost per lead really depends on that particular business. Like if you have a gym that charges $79 a month and you have a 10% churn, well, that means your lifetime value is probably going to be like $800 versus if you have like, $400 a month membership average and you have a 3% churn, meaning you're only losing 3% of your members every month, you have like a $8,000 to $12,000 lifetime value. So $800 versus 8,000, I would be willing to pay significantly more money to get a customer that's going to pay me $8,000 versus one that's only going to pay me 800. So
Definitely.
it's important to know like what is our lifetime value and then also what is our cost to acquire a customer, because your goal is to constantly reduce that cost to acquire a customer and raise that lifetime value. We actually, for anybody watching, listening, wants a free training on it so you understand it. You can do the math behind it. If you go to loudrumor.com/LTV CAC. Again, that's LTV CAC, stands for lifetime value and customer acquisition costs. You can get the free training. It breaks down the math. It's super simple. Like if you're 10 years old and you've done basic math, you can do this math. You just got to know what to do. So Michael, because I get it. I've been in your shoes before. Some people are getting a $40 cost per lead and like, dude, this is great. And then other people are like, it kind of mathematically needs to be $15 or less. And that's a big important piece a lot of people miss. What do you typically see is like a general cost per lead? And I know it depends. I'm literally arguing against my own point, but what do you see right now in the fitness space is a typical cost per lead?
So it really, again, it depends on the type of lead as well. So, and the quality of the lead. So you can have a free offer, and free offers work back in the day in the wild, wild west, and you'd get a lot of cheap leads, but is the quality of the leads any good? So you can do a free offer and you can get $5 leads, fantastic. But are those consumers coming through? Are they genuinely interested in the product, or do they simply want something for nothing? So we don't necessarily recommend running free offers. But with a good, strong offer, what we'd like to see is cost per leads anywhere in the vicinity between $15 to $20 on a sort of every day of the week type of thing. They can go a lot higher than that. We sometimes see cost per leads go up to $30, even $40. However, the client's happy because the quality of the lead is great. We're getting really good conversions, meaning that we're getting the right type of buyer coming in, the right type of consumer coming in that really resonates with their product or service. And so there's not necessarily a right cost per lead, but from a market perspective, on average, anywhere between $15 and $20 is a solid price point.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So when we're making adjustments in the optimization process, there are certain things that you could definitely do as the ad agency. There's certain things that the customer could possibly do. What are some things that we go, hey, let's tweak this or let's tweak that? And these are the things. And I'd like it if we start with the most important stuff, like the stuff that typically has the greatest impact. If we change that, what are the changes that you would make?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, it's so important to have an open mind, a growth mindset around testing different offers and being open to variations, to seeing what works best for you and your brand and your clientele. What we see and what I believe in, first of all, obviously getting that offer right is the most important piece, followed by your copy and creatives and things like that. With the offer, again, a high value, high perceived offer is directly correlated to the cost per lead. So a good offer will generally bring the lead cost down. So what are some of the things that we can do to optimize and test? We can test different timeframes. So we can test short-term offers versus long-term offers, right? 7 days versus 20 days. We can test price-based offers and we can test non-price based offers. Is a really good one. So we work with a lot of clients, and they tend to say, look, we want to do a 7 days for $45. And that, okay, fantastic, try that. However, be open-minded and test that offer against a recommended offer, such as a 7-day beginner's fitness experience, for example, without necessarily advertising the price. You can still sell that introductory offer for $45, but you don't need to necessarily lead with the price, because people buy based on the emotion, not necessarily, well, definitely not necessarily on logic. And so we want to make that emotional connection with our ideal clientele. So again, testing non-price, with price, free, not free, different types of benefits within that offer. So whether you offer let's say you're a boxing studio, beginners boxing, or it could be strength and boxing inside the offer. So different names with the offer. And then once you have that offer right, so let's say you land on a 28-day beginners boxing program that's working really well, what we can do is we can gift wrap that differently from month to month to ensure that it doesn't fatigue in the local marketplace. Because if your consumers see that offer every single week, time and time again, it just won't resonate with them. So adding that seasonality, could be a winter boxing challenge, for example, could still be 28 days. You're still selling that initial offer for $149, but you're just gift wrapping it differently to make it exciting and enticing.
Yeah, it's funny that we actually talked about this the other day with a couple of, we have our power calls that we do at Loud Rumor, and it was about getting in the conversation that's already in their head. So when it's Christmas time, you're already seeing Christmas. You're thinking about Christmas. You're thinking about the sales that are coming up. You're thinking about the things that you have to buy. You're thinking about all the food that you're going to eat. And so when you see Christmas come up on your feed, you're tied to it. And therefore, you're more likely to read that ad than if it was just a 7-day free trial that would say in August. Same thing goes Valentine's Day, right? If it's Valentine's Day's coming up, you see that Valentine's Day thing, you're more likely to stick to it and read it than you are if it was just a 7-day pass. It's evergreen. So I definitely agree with that, which is great that you guys do it. Okay. So creating a great offer and understanding what a great offer, very, very important. If you want to get good at marketing, this is a very important piece. You have two ways you can go. You can either get really, really good at this, which I don't see any value being taken away from you getting really, really good at it and doing it. Or you can partner up with somebody to bring them on your team to be really good at it for you. That's, Michael here and his partner, Benji. These guys over at SupaFitGrow have got it dialed in. If you want to learn more about how to work with them, you can go to SupaFitGrow.io. That's Supa, SUPA, fitgrow.io. And these guys will take great care of you. I sent over, 100 or so clients to them, and these guys are rocking it. They're killer. And if you guys want to learn how to do it yourself, which, I don't suggest unless you're bored or just really, really into marketing, when you can, just go to loudrumor.com/great-offers, and you'll be able to watch it happen and be able to be a fly on the wall as I break it down. So, Michael, thanks so much for coming on and talking offers with me, man.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
I love it. I can't wait to have you again. We're going to have you on more episodes because I'm learning a lot from you as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, for listening and watching, and we will see you next time.